What's going on, everyone? Elite Sports back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing my NFL 2025 mock draft 1.0. This is the only one I'll be doing, and I'm here with the draft specialist. He's on every year for a mock draft. Mr. Showtime, Adam Ricci, what is going on?
How's it going? Glad to be back.
All right, so this year is tough. It's a really tough year to pick because the quarterbacks are so tough to choose, obviously, aside from Cam Ward, who we know is going to be the number one overall pick in this year's draft. But after that, it gets so difficult. Where's Shedeur going to go? Where's Jackson Dart? Does Jalen Milroe fit into the first round? It's so tough to decide. And as you always know, we don't do them with trades, so it's going to be a little bit inaccurate because we know that the quarterbacks that are going to be moving are going to be picked between like 22 to 32 are likely going to be via the trade. So it's tough to really pick without doing the trades, but we're going to try and do as accurate of a mock as we can. And we're not going to be doing what we think the team should do. It's what we think will happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. There's a lot of talent on the board this year. As far as the trades go, we can't really predict what kind of trades are going to happen. But, a lot of good players are probably going to be left out of this first round here. But, we can't really control what's going to happen with the trades, so we're gonna do our best.
And this year is big for the defensive linemen and the edge guys. So there's going to be a lot of them going in the first round. But let's kick things off at number one. It's the Tennessee Titans on the board. And I think as everyone, we don't need to talk too much about this. It's going to be the Miami quarterback, Cam Ward.
Yeah, it looks like a lock right now. They need a QB for the future. He's the clear one, so that makes the most sense here.
And then at number two is really where the draft gets kickstarted. And we heard news today that the Giants and the Browns at 2 and 3, they're fielding calls on potential trades. A lot of people trying to trade up to get Genty, who's moving up the board. But like we said, no trades. If they stay there, the pick's going to be Travis Hunter from Colorado.
I like this pick. I mean, and Cleveland's done the whole quarterback thing. They've taken quarterbacks high. It hasn't worked out. I think this is something the city of Cleveland can be excited about. Really a can't-miss prospect.
Two-way player.
I mean, Travis Hunter speaks for himself. He's a stud, so it makes sense here at 2.
And then at 3, the New York Giants go with the Penn State edge rusher, Abdul Carter.
I think this is kind of a best player available type of pick. Again, with Carter, I think he's kind of a generational
one of the
guy.
Best players in this year's draft.
Possibly the best player in the draft. Obviously, Ward going 1. I think Ward just because of the positional value, but if it was another team, Carter might have been the first overall pick. So I think
makes sense.
I think it makes sense for the Giants to go Carter.
And then at 4 overall, a lot of people at this point they know that New England. They need help on the O-line. They've needed that for a while. Vrabel stepped in. You know that the trenches are going to be a big area of emphasis this year, and they're going to go with the LSU tackle, Will Campbell. I think that's pretty set in stone at this point.
Yeah, they were rumored for a long time to go receiver, possibly McMillan. Now they got Diggs. They got a couple other guys in that receiving core. So I think as much as you can, help Drake May out. That's a quarterback's best friend, the O-line, so give him some reinforcements there, and seems like the right pick.
And then at 5, we got the Jags going with the Michigan defensive tackle, Mason Graham, big guy from Michigan. I think it just makes sense there. They could go Genty, they could go with Mason Graham, but it just feels like they got Tank Bigsby. They still got ETN. Running back, as much as it could be a need, there's so many needs on that football team. It just doesn't feel like you can use a top 5 pick on a running back.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Genty solves all your problems. That team has a lot of holes. Graham seems like the right pick. As much as they got Liam Cohen in there now, an offensive-minded guy. I think Genty would make a lot of sense too. But like I said, this team has a lot of holes. So Graham makes sense and fits one of those needs.
Which leads us to our next pick, which is the Raiders, and we got them going with the Boise State running back, Ashton Genty, of course. A lot of talk about them potentially going Shedeur Sanders up until they got Geno Smith. Pete Carroll's in there. And then they even gave an extension to Geno Smith. So it feels like they're not going to go Shedeur, and they go Genty.
Yeah, Genty makes a lot of sense here. I mean, same thing we said. He could have went to the Jags at 5, but running back's a big need on the Raiders. I like that fit there.
And then the Jets at number 7. Again, another team that could go Shedeur. But we got them going Armin Membu from Missouri, the tackle. A lot of people really like him. They feel that he could be the best tackle in this draft. What do you think about him?
I agree. I think he has a case for being the best tackle in this draft. They went Fashanu last year from Penn State. Now you're going to give the Jets one of the youngest and arguably most talented offensive lines in the league. You got Justin Fields at the helm. I think it's the right pick.
And then at number 8, the Carolina Panthers go with the linebacker from Georgia, Jalen Walker. Fantastic player. You can never go wrong with a defensive bulldog.
Yeah, Carolina's invested a lot into their offense around Bryce Young. I think it's time to look at the other side of the ball. Jalen Walker, Georgia guy. Usually those don't miss, so it's a good pick.
And then at number 9, another spot where, again, Shedeur could go. And up until about a week ago, everyone thought it's going to be Shedeur to the Saints. And now everyone's steering away from that, of course. New head coach Kellen Moore. Do they reset at quarterback? They have Rattler, who they drafted in the mid to late rounds. Do they run it back with him? Do they go Shedeur? But we're not going to have Shedeur. We're going to have the corner from Michigan. In my opinion, other than Travis Hunter, the best corner in this draft class, Will Johnston.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints lost both their corners. They with Adebo at the Giants and Lattimore they traded last year. Couple of the earlier mocks this year had Will Johnson as a top 5 prospect. So to me, this is a home run pick at 9 if they do take him. The fit is great. Obviously, they were rumored Shedeur for a long time now, but with that seeming more unlikely, I feel like this is the right fit.
And then at number 10, the Chicago Bears, of course, with Ben Johnson there. I think they're going to go Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. I think it just makes sense. In my opinion, he's one of the most versatile offensive players in this year's draft. He's one of the best players in this draft. In my opinion, he is the best playmaker and the best pass catcher. What do you think of him?
I think this is a home run pick if you're the Bears. Ben Johnson coming in there. The possibilities with this guy, Caleb Williams, all those pass catchers in this offense is undeniable. So I think this is a perfect fit. That offense will be scary if Tyler Warren goes there.
And then at number 11, the San Francisco 49ers. It's crazy to think that they're even picking at 11, but we got them going tackle from Texas, Kelvin Banks Jr. Again, one of the better tackles in this class. You can make the argument he's better than Membo. You can make the argument he's the best in the class. San Fran was so good at getting in good old linemen and grooming them up. They go with Kelvin Banks.
Yeah, I agree. Another very good tackle prospect. I mean, anything you could do to help out that O-line. There's also, oh my God, I'm blanking. His name, tackle on the Niners.
Trent
Williams. He's probably going to retire soon. So I think this is a good pick. Can kind of slide in there and learn from him, and I think it's a good pick for the Niners.
And then at 12, the Cowboys, they can go a whole ton of directions, but we got them going the wide receiver out of Arizona, Tetairoa McMillan, him to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. That could be one of the best whiteout punch outside of course, Cincinnati in the NFL.
Yeah, this is another great pick. I mean, the Cowboys is a flashy pick, and I think this would be a great fit on the Cowboys.
At 13, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and we got them going Texas. Cornerback Jaden Barron, a guy who is moving up the mocks. He's projected now in the top 20. And Miami, who of course needs a corner. Jalen Ramsey might leave. They go Barron in this mock.
Yeah, I agree with the news of Jalen Ramsey now going. I think it's very possible these guys take a corner like Barron at pick number 13. Seems like the right fit.
And then the Indianapolis Colts. It just feels like they're going to be going tight end, And if Warren's there, which I don't really think at this point you can assume he's going to be because he is just such a good player. In this mock, he's not there, so we go with the Michigan tight end, who I think is really good himself, Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I think Loveland's the next best tight end in this draft. Like Lucas said, I don't think Warren falls there as much as he's in a lot of mocks going to the Colts. I think Loveland is a good fit here, and it makes a lot of sense.
And then at 15, the Atlanta Falcons going with the Texas A&M edge, Shamar Stewart, a player who you really like.
Yeah, he's a solid player out of Texas A&M. Could go even higher than this. Just not a lot of edge needy teams picking above the Falcons, but yeah, I think he's a fantastic player, and a lot of people thought the Falcons were going to go edge last year. Obviously, surprised us with the Michael Penix pick in the first round. So I think this year it makes a lot of sense to go with a stud edge prospect.
And then at 16, the Arizona Cardinals go with a guy who I don't really know much about, and I mean a guy at a Marshall, not really a school that many people follow, but a guy that a lot of people really like in the industry, the edge, Mike Green.
Yeah, a lot of people are really big on him. I can't say we've really seen a lot of him play, but from what we've heard, he's a super talented prospect, and
who's going to go in the mid-first round.
Probably going to go in the mid-first round, and the Cardinals seem like a good fit.
And then at 17, the Cincinnati Bengals with a very, very big need, really, just on their defense as a whole. They need defense. And one of the most exciting players in this year's draft class, a guy who a lot of people like, and he was supposed to get to the second round, and now there's just no chance he gets there. It's the Mississippi defensive lineman, Walter Nolan.
Yeah, their whole defense needs help. So to me, I think they can go kind of all over the place with this pick. But a guy like Walter Nolan, you can't go wrong, and he's a good fit on that Bengals defense.
At pick number 18 overall, the Seattle Seahawks. Up until they signed Cooper Kupp, we could have easily mocked them going Matthew Golden or Luther Burden, but now they have JSN, they have Cooper Kupp. It feels like they're going to steer away from going wide receiver, and they go with a big need, and they get the Ohio State tackle, Josh Simmons. I really like him as a prospect. What do you got on him?
Yeah, I still do think there is a world where they could go receiver. A guy like Golden could make sense, but yeah, Simmons is another stud tackle prospect. I mean, you can never have enough O-line help, so I think it's a good pick for Seattle.
And then 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Alabama linebacker Jahad Campbell, really, really exciting player.
Yeah, another good linebacker out of Alabama. I mean, those guys usually end up being pretty good. Put him on a team like the Bucs, seems like a good fit. So I like the pick.
And then Sean Payton's Denver Broncos at number 20. Could they go? Could they trade up? That's a team that's rumored to trade up from possibly McMillan, or do they just stand pat? Which of course we're not doing trades, so we're going to have them staying there. At number 20, they go with the running back Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, one of the most exciting players in this draft class. A guy who really is starting to move up the mocks.
Yeah, this is a team that had one of the best defenses in the NFL, if not the best last year. So I think they're going to address the offensive side of the ball. A lot of people are rumoring them to take a running back, the next best running back after Gentry being Hampton. So to me, this pick makes a lot of sense.
And then at 21, we finally, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, have the Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. I think one way or another, I think Pittsburgh's going to take a quarterback at 21. Whether Shedeur gets there or not, they really don't have a quarterback on the roster, so they need to take one. And in this scenario, they get lucky, and they get Shedeur at 21.
Yeah, I mean, obviously without the trades, it's hard to say because we don't know who's going to make what trade. But I think it's very possible someone trades up for Shedeur even before this pick. But assuming the way we are doing this draft makes a lot of sense. Shedeur going to the Steelers, they need a QB. Seems like a perfect fit.
And then at 22, the Los Angeles Chargers, we have them pairing up Ladd McConkey with the Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden, a guy who could be the first wide receiver other than Hunter, of course, and go ahead of McMillan.
Yeah, like this pick here for the Chargers. Give Justin Herbert another weapon. Had a very underrated offense last year. Known more for their running game, but give Justin Herbert another weapon on that offense, and they could be something to be a force to be reckoned with.
At 23, we have the host, the Green Bay Packers, taking the Boston College edge, Donovan Eziraku.
Yeah, another good pick here. Can't go wrong with an edge. Eziraku, good player out of Boston College. Good pick for the Packers.
And then at 24, a guy who a lot of people really like, the Minnesota Vikings. They kind of get a steal. It's another Georgia defensive player who, I mean, if a safety was a higher picked position, this guy could be in the top 10. Malachi Starks, a safety from Georgia.
Yeah, unfortunately, safeties aren't valued as high as other positions, but you can make a case for this guy going even higher than this pick. But if he does fall here, that's a fantastic pick for the Vikings. Good fit. We like the pick here.
And then at 25, the Houston Texans, they have no choice but to go to the O-line. And we got them taking North Dakota State tackle Gray Zabel after they traded pretty much their whole O-line.
Yeah, desperate for O-line help. C.J. Stroud had no time last year. There's no question they have to go offensive line.
And then we have back-to-back O-line picks, back-to-back tackle picks. We got the Rams going Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon, a guy who I don't think at this point gets to the second round.
Yeah, another good pick. O-line. Rams are in need of O-line. Help Matthew Stafford out. Seems like a right pick.
What are the odds that they go Jackson Dart here?
The Rams, I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible someone could even trade up for him. He could sit for a year under Matthew Stafford. Would be super beneficial for a player like him. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks, Jordan Love, and others who have sat for a year and turned out very well. So I think if he goes there, sits behind Stafford for a year, that could be super beneficial for him.
And then at 27, your team, the Baltimore Ravens, we got them going the Michigan defensive tackle Kenneth Grant, a solid player.
Yeah, solid player out of Michigan. I mean, D-line help is what the Ravens need. So I think anything from interior D-line to edge, even possibly a safety at this spot is possible. But we like them taking Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. It seems like a good pick.
And then at 28, the Detroit Lions, they go to Tennessee edge James Pierce Jr., who was supposed to go earlier in the mock process, was supposed to go a lot earlier.
Yeah, this guy, if you looked at mocks earlier in the year, he was a consensus lottery pick, but a guy who seemed to slip down the rankings, but still a very high upside player, a lot of potential there. I mean, if he goes to a team like the Lions, he could definitely develop and be a good player, so we like that pick here.
At 29, you got the Washington Commanders going with the Ole Miss corner Trey Amos. Of course, they got Lattimore. They have a few good guys. Sainer Stoll is good there. But we got them just, kind of adding a lot of depth to that secondary.
Yeah, the Washington defense last year was quite atrocious last year when they needed to come up big. So very good player in Amos out of Mississippi here. Seems like a good fit on Washington and fills a need for them.
And then we got the Buffalo Bills at number 30. A spot where it feels like they have to go with a pick in the secondary. Their secondary is so bad. It's their weak link of their team, but we don't have I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to wait till the second round. They have a few day 2 picks. We got them going to Texas A&M edge Nick Scorton.
Yeah, I like this pick. They've invested a lot into their offense now, so getting another body on that D line is helpful. And as far as their secondary does need help, they do have a lot of picks, second round and third round picks. So I like this pick here.
And then this Kansas City Chiefs, it just seems that whoever they throw into play O-line just can't figure it out recently. It feels like Mahomes is running for his life. We got them going at 31 here with the Ohio State tackle Donovan Jackson, a player I really like. They lost Joe Thuney. Their O-line hasn't been good to begin with. Hopefully for their sake, Donovan Jackson steps in at tackle and can be a good player.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have all the weapons they need on offense now. It's more just about beefing up that O-line. Donovan Jackson makes a lot of sense here.
And then at 32, the last pick of the first round, the Philadelphia Eagles. Such an Eagles pick. The edge from Georgia, Michael Williams.
Yeah, Howie Roseman does it again. Gets his Georgia defensive guy here. Don't be surprised if this guy's another stud.
So, guys, that's our mock. Of course, no trades, so it's tough. There's going to be some misses here. It feels like Dart's going to be a first-round pick. It feels like Shedeur could go earlier than 21, and it certainly feels that at this point, it's possible Milroe slides into the first round. So we're not going to ace this, of course, because there's no trades, but a lot of teams that could trade up from the end of the first round into the middle or the back or the second round into the back end of the first round for quarterback. We don't know what's going to happen, but this is our mock. You let us know down in the comment section what you think about it. Let me know your predictions. The draft is Thursday. It's just 2 days away. We're really excited. So let us know all the good stuff down in the comment section. As always, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys all in the next video. And as always, let's go Giants.